Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning. I'm your host, Davida Shinsky, and you're listening to Live Without Limits. Today's show is 7 habits that millionaires have that you don't. For one thing, why we are talking about this, especially at this time, is that as we get caught up in this pandemic, we are beginning to realize there are options that we have been moving in this direction for a while, actually since the beginning of the 21st century, if not sooner. But for many reasons, people were still used to the old paradigm of how business has been done. And now that they are caught up where they can't go in and work and they're having to work from home, they're beginning to reformulate their thoughts of what a job is and where you can perform a job. And yes, there are jobs that no matter what will have to be performed in person, but in many ways you can do the same job working from home. Last week, nearly 50 high-performing entrepreneurs got together at a mastermind meeting in beautiful Miami, Florida, with one goal: to get the tools and strategies that need to grow their business in 2020 without working more hours. Our attendees ranged from our attendees ranged from $10 million a year plus veteran entrepreneurs down to budding freelance copywriters just trying to make the first 6 figures and everyone in between. Let me tell you, it was epic. We learned from Dan Fleischman, the youngest person in history to make a company public. He was 23 when his business hit NASDAQ. Joel, the $700 million man, Marion, Robbie, the ass whisperer, Blanchett, and half a dozen other empire builders and millionaires. And throughout the mastermind, I noticed something interesting. The entrepreneurs at the 7-figure level or above weren't any smarter, more talented, or harder working than the people at the 5 or 6-figure level. They simply have different habits and routines that help them achieve success faster. And after personally coaching more than 1,000 entrepreneurs, including 260 plus millionaires, I found that there are 7 key habits that millionaire entrepreneurs have that the stuckly entrepreneur doesn't. And I'm going to give you an insider's look into the habits to help you earn more, work less, and 10 times your impact and lifestyle in 2020. And just because someone's an entertainer doesn't mean that they're the only ones that can make 7 figures and above and accumulate money. It's all up to you and your mindset and how much time you are willing to put into making a business work. I don't know how many times I'll be sitting on Quora and looking at some of the questions, and you would be surprised how many of them are just looking for a magic answer where they can make a 7-figure income without putting in the work. Or they're looking for that product that will sell. And the idea is if you're doing something that you really, truly enjoy doing and something that you have a passion for, guess what? You can make that seven-figure income too. They plan out their days, weeks, and months. I'm a big believer that success is simple once you accept how hard it is. And one of the simplest and most powerful habits that you can adopt to 10 times your success and make your first million faster than you ever thought possible is to strategically plan your days, weeks, and months. Here's the thing. If you don't have a plan for the big things you want to accomplish, it'll never happen, period. Without a clear blueprint for success, you'll default to distractions, temptations, and busy work that do nothing to drive you towards your life of your dreams. Here's another thing to think about. A business plan is very important, and so many people go into opening a business without a business plan. And what happens then? They have no idea what to do and how to grow a business. Can you imagine what would happen to you if you went to see Fiddler on the Roof at Broadway and the actors, director, and production team tried to improvise the entire performance? Or if a team of special forces, soldiers, were sent on a life and death mission without being told where they were going, what they were doing, or what their objective was? Or if you boarded a plane where the pilot decided not to use the navigation system to find the destination, it would be chaos. And this is why so many people who start businesses tend to fail, because they don't have a plan. And the biggest thing you can do is put together a plan. And that business plan is really nothing more than a blueprint. The idea is to take action and to have yourself a mentor or a coach that will help you take that plan and put it into action to make it all work. This seems like common sense, yet all too often in our own lives and businesses, common sense isn't common practice. If you want 2020 to be the year where you make your first seven figures without looking crazy hours, you must have a plan for every quarter, month, week, day, and hour. The tools that will give you an advantage over your competitors and help you compress an entire year's worth of productivity into 3 short months. And what they are is a business plan. Then to sit down and put together a mission statement, and to take those two and actually work at putting them together. And the idea is not only to know what you have a passion about, but to niche it down to a smaller group. Because people think that if you look at the whole industry as your market, instead of just niching it down to a few short people, then what you're doing is you're making yourself so broad that, what's the expression? To be a master at one thing is to be a master at none, in that you can't be everything, everyone, and therefore, what do you need to do? You literally need to know which group within an industry is being underserved that you can serve, because guess what? Most of your money and your income will come from that small group, especially if you can show them that you're the authority and have the expertise that they need. They delegate aggressively and focus on their area of genius. This is a big thing because I remember seeing a course that someone wrote of the secret formula of how to become an entrepreneur. And what he was literally saying was that many entrepreneurs, when they first get started, wear all the hats. And that when you try to wear all the hats and do everything yourself, guess what? You are not being a master of your own boat, because this is it. We all have strengths. We all have weaknesses. We have things that we truly want to be doing. And if you learn how to delegate out those things that you don't like doing, then everything will be done well. Because what is the expression here? That it takes a village to make a success. Because if you try to do everything yourself, that you want to become the person who becomes glorified for the things you've done by doing everything, then you're going to end up not being able to do anything. One of the easiest ways to rapidly increase your income and make your first million is to eliminate all the tasks, activities, and obligations that you do not need to do. Too many entrepreneurs take a preferred satisfaction in doing everything themselves. They think they can be the CEO, the CFO, the CMO, and the CCO, sales manager, executive assistant, and janitor in their business. And the end result is always the same. Burnout, overwhelm, anxiety, and unprecedented. Listen, if you want to become a millionaire and create a business that feels or fuels your lifestyle and gives you the freedom that you must or that you want instead of keeping you trapped in a high-paying job, you must delegate, automate, and eliminate everything outside of your area of genius. Here's also something else to think about that's very important here, which is something that we always don't think about. What makes a corporation successful is that they delegate. They don't do everything. You've got the boss who runs everything. And think about it. In many cases, a company, the actual owner doesn't even work the business. They own shares in the business. They continue to reap the profits from the business, but they are not involved in the day-to-day running of the business. They leave that to their managers, to the salespeople, even to the grunt worker on the front lines. So that's what makes a business work. You must stop wasting your time on $10 per hour tasks and focus exclusively on the high-level tasks that you and only you can do. Hire an assistant to manage your inbox and handle your calendar. Pay someone else to clean your home, cut your lawn, and cook your meals. Find a salesperson who can close deals for you while you focus on deliveries and exceptional product or service. Even if you have to lose income in the short term, you'll open up the time and energy that you need to focus on the big profit drivers that will add an extra 6 to 7 figures in your bottom line. To get started, I encourage you to use a strategy that I learned called the Delegation Journal. And it goes like this. For the next 2 to 3 days, you're going to keep a blank sheet of paper and a pen by your desk at all times. Write down everything you do, whether it's responding to an email, reviewing a proposal, writing an article, or doing a sales call. Then, after 3 days, look at your list and ask yourself, what can I outsource, eliminate, or automate to free up my time? Here's another thing to think about, that what we're doing here is talking about freelance writing. There are people out there who really enjoy writing, who you can turn over all your information, all the research. You could even have one person do the research for you, and then you can have someone else write up the article, and then what you can do is take that article and then review it and put it in your own words so that it looks like you. That way, what you're doing is they're doing the grunt work, and then you're just creating the finished product. And you know what? That works the best. And why is it that works the best? Simple, because you are not spending the time actually doing the writing. You're just taking an hour of your time to review it and then cross out things and ways to make it better. For instance, when I was a member of the Georgia Speakers Association, which is a chapter of the National Speakers Association, I had a mentor, and that mentor helped me put together my first speech. And I was often very wordy, and he knew how to make it more concise and say in fewer words exactly what I wanted. But it worked for me because it gave me a better speech that I would have been able to do on my own. They know their magic time and max it out. Your magic time is the time of the day when you focus, intention, willpower, and motivation are at their highest. When you're 3 to 5 times more productive than any other time of the day. We all have biorhythms, and when you think about it, some people are more wide awake in the morning when they first get up and they can get more done, and others, their time has switched to where they get more motivated and they do more in the evening. So if you understand where you're coming from and when your peak time is, then you're going to get more work done. Back in 2004, when I first discovered the strategy, I realized that my magic time was early in the morning. I started waking up at 4:30 and investing only 20 minutes of time into my online business before going to my day job as a personal trainer. Within 18 months, those little 20-minute slivers of magic time allowed me to build a 6-figure online business and quit my soul-sucking job. And this strategy also helped me write my first book. Sure, I could have created content in the evenings after 12 hours of training clients, but I knew what would take me 15 minutes in the morning would take me 3 times longer if I tried to do it later in the day. Listen, you want to become a millionaire, you must identify and max out your magic time every day. I think this is something that people don't always realize, that if you have a family and they demand your time, then why not start work or waking up an hour or an hour and a half earlier when they are still asleep, or find the time in the evening when no one is around, because that's going to be your magic time. The idea is to be able to do things in a way that will help you to achieve your goals faster and to be committed to them, not just give it voice time, but actually put yourself to work and make yourself do it. Listen, if you want to become a millionaire, you must identify and max out your magic time every day. You must build a fence around yourself and ruthlessly protect this time with your life, eliminating all distractions and focusing on all your attention on the number one priority in your business. If you will do this every day, I promise you'll make your first 7-figure faster than you ever thought possible. They take massive, imperfect action. During an unstoppable mastermind meeting last week, my good friend delivered a fireball presentation on the power of mindset. And in her talk, she discussed the problem of the perfection paralysis, something that plagues every entrepreneur at the planet at one time or another. And what that means is that you have to do it perfectly. And you know what? No one is perfect. If you do the best job possible, even with your flaws, people will accept you better because no one expects you to be perfect except you. We want to have the perfect business plan before we take action. We want our product to be perfect before we launch them. We want every word of content and copy to be finely tuned before we share it with the world. But here's the thing. Perfection doesn't exist. You'll never feel ready to take action on your big goals. And no matter how many hours you put in, there will always be room for improvement. The key to success is to embrace your fear of imperfection. Accept that the stars will never align and you'll never feel ready. And then take action anyway. Here's the kicker. We should always take action because it's easy to procrastinate. And you know what that is? That is a self-limiting belief. That's your fears taking over. And the idea is to be willing to get beyond your comfort zone. When you're willing to get beyond your comfort zone and do the things that you need to do and face your fears, then you will not let anything stop you from reaching your goals. The key to success is to embrace your fear, perfection, accept that stars will never align and you'll never feel ready, and then take action anyway. The people who achieve the highest levels of success are the people who are willing to take massive and imperfect action fast and learn from their mistakes. Done is better than perfect, and no one over-accomplished anything worthwhile while waiting for perfection. Because we learn from our mistakes along the way. So fail forward fast. Embrace imperfection. Experiment fast and pivot faster. And I promise your life will change. It is up to you to be the one to actually be willing to take the action that you need to in order to make sure that you are successful. They flex their decisive muscle. Former Secretary of State Colin Powell, a man whose daily decisions literally affected millions of people, was once asked how he was able to make so many decisions so quickly. Answer was profound. He said that he followed a simple 40-70 rule. If he had less than 40% of the information, he wasn't ready to make a decision and needed to spend more time thinking. However, if he already had more than 70% of the information, he already waited too long and needed to make a decision yesterday. In our lives, it's easy to get stuck in indecision. Whether you spend 45 minutes scrolling through Netflix trying to decide on a movie to watch, or 3 minutes trying to decide what product we should create next, most of us waste years of our life being indecisive. One of the number one traits that separate millionaires from the rest of the population is their ability to rapidly make big decisions and pivot along the way. They don't deliberate on releasing a product because I'm sure if the logo looks right and if I should use a blue or purple, they make decisions, every huge decision quickly because they know they can always make a different decision later. For example, Xander Fryer has a simple rule that he and his wife follow. For unimportant decisions like what to eat, what movie to watch, or where to go out for a date night, they have only 10 seconds to decide. For important decisions like whether or not to join Joel Marion's $100 million mastermind experience, a $100,000 investment, they have only 30 minutes. And if they want to become millionaires in 2020, you must create a similar rule in your life. Stop wasting time thinking about what to do. Make a decision and stick to it. And remember, perfect is the enemy of done. Flex your decisiveness muscle and always think of things that you can do that can help you begin to accept that you have the ability to create a 7-figure income. It's just a matter of being willing to take the opportunity to expand and be willing to become a decision maker. That every one of us have that dominant behavior pattern within us. And that dominant behavior pattern is the person who believes that they can do anything they choose to do. And remember, you can go to my website, and that website is the #1, personalcareercoach.com. And you can sign up for coaching, or you can take some of my classes on how to build a business and have an entrepreneur's mindset.